Assalamu alaikum, Nazareen.
Welcome to the Nazar and Yasser Show. My name is Nazar. This is Yasser. This is our show. Right before we start the podcast, actually we should start the podcast with this, but we were discussing outside. ये आम वालों का माफिया जो है.
नहीं, आपने Odyssey के बारे में नहीं बात करनी.
यार Odyssey के बारे में बात करनी है, आपने देखी
I
नहीं.
thought that's all you want to do.
That's all I want to talk about. Honestly, yes. But you haven't seen it yet.
So
I actually
what?
want to make plans with you to go see it.
Oh,
That I would love to do with
Okay,
you.
fine. Okay,
Let's do it on
okay.
Tuesday. We should go to an IMAX.
ठीक
Are
है.
you planning to go to an IMAX?
Ideally, yes,
Yeah.
but if it's sold out, then what's the point of me waiting around? I might as well just go watch it anywhere.
I know a guy.
You know a guy who knows a guy?
No, I know a guy, and I am the guy. And I will get you Odyssey tickets for IMAX. But it'll be at the Whitby location though. Would you okay with that? Be okay with the drive? It's far.
कहाँ 5 minute की drive और कहाँ 45
Wait,
minutes की
there's a
drive?
theater 5 minutes near you? Which one is it?
Markham Cineplex.
Does that have IMAX?
Yes.
It has an IMAX?
Yes.
Really?
But the question is are
it
there tickets
available?
and is
For
there
Tuesday
what
night-
are the showings? So that's something I have to check.
So when are you ideally looking for? Like a Tuesday night showing?
Yeah.
Probably sold out.
Huh?
Yeah. Me and Simran were trying to go for an 11 a.m. showing, sold out.
हाँ.
On a
हाँ.
Tuesday. ये कौन फारे लोग हैं जो 11 बजे मूवी देखने जा रहे हैं?
नहीं,
काम काज नहीं है?
लेकिन एक और चीज है ना कि जिस कम्युनिटी में मैं रहता हूँ वो लोग इतने भी क्रेजी दिलचस्प मूवी फैंस नहीं है बिकॉज मार्कम इज प्रीडोमिनेटली चाइनीज पीपल सो देन देयर नॉट रियली सो क्रेजी फॉर द सिनेमा एक्सपीरियंस समटाइम्स देयर आर टिकट्स अवेलेबल दैट्स व्हाई आई एम सॉर्ट ऑफ लाइक फिर भी चेक कर सकता हूँ और should I check right now?
Yeah, check right now, why not? But we should definitely book something before you leave today.
हाँ.
कि क्या है scene क्या नहीं है.
तो
When I was watching the Odyssey,
yes.
firstly, like one of my main movie experiences of the year, like I think I feel about the Odyssey like the way you felt about One Battle After Another last year.
Yeah.
I remember we talked about it at length. You were like, this is probably the best movie I've seen in 5 years. And
Okay, it's sold
this,
out
that,
everywhere. Sorry. हाँ.
100%.
Yeah.
Has to be. Well, we'll find a way, don't worry.
Yeah.
But the way that the way that PTA is your guy,
He's my guy.
Right? Nolan is my guy.
He's your guy?
He's my. I remember distinctly, grade 9-10 में मैं और मेरे cousins आए हुए थे. और again, shout out Jumbo Books, Inglistan Johor. We bought the एक movie के अंदर जो 5 movie आती हैं,
हाँ.
70 रुपए की.
Yes.
इसमें 4
Power pack.
Yeah, 5 movies. So we had Shutter Island and Inception in that one CD. I think it was a Leonardo DiCaprio special. And we watched both of those movies that night.
बीच में
And
Titanic होगा, The Beach होगा.
I think ऐसे कुछ scene था. I honestly, नहीं, it was recent.
Romeo and Juliet.
It was a recent DiCaprio movie. So I remember The Departed was on it. ये थी Shutter Island थी, Inception थी, Blood Diamond थी, and Great Gatsby. That was the no, not Great Gatsby. Great Gatsby उसके बाद आई थी. But it was one of those Revolutionary Road
Wolf
type.
of Wall Street.
नहीं, वो भी बाद में आई थी उसके. This is 2011 की बात है. And me and my cousins night stay के ऊपर we put it on. And we watched Shutter Island first, and we had absolutely our brains blown up.
Yeah.
And then we decided to watch Inception right after.
Nice. Very
And-
good. What a combination.
And our brains जो blow out ना brains थी वो bits वापस जमा हुए Tenet
It
style,
re-blew up.
and it re-blew up.
Right.
And both of those movies stayed with me, but I think Scorsese was sort of like, he's older, and his movies have demand a different kind of attention. And with Nolan, it was like he's newer, and his movies are fast cut and pace, and they're just like they move along, even though they're 3 hours long. Sometimes they just move along a little bit more quickly, and our little brains were like, "This is opium for us. Like, give me as much of this as you want."
ठीक है.
And uske baad se like Interstellar and all of that. I just grew up.
No, I defer with you. I think it depends on the story itself.
Which is
Story-
what is
story-
a slow Nolan movie? Oppenheimer is technically slow, but even that is so fast cutted. Like it's always like moving at a jarring speed.
Insomnia is a slow. Have you seen Insomnia?
That's the one
You
I
haven't
haven't
seen
seen.
Insomnia?
That's the one I haven't seen. Insomnia
See?
is the only blind spot I have in Nolan. I haven't gone back to it.
Have you seen his short film, The Following?
No.
बड़े प्रेम करते हैं.
Those Following and Insomnia are the only movies that I haven't
Following, Memento, you've
seen. Of
obviously
course,
seen.
yeah.
ठीक
I've
है?
seen the Indian version as well. #Gajni.
Gajni.
Yes.
Have you
Actually,
seen the South Indian version, Gajni?
No, I have not. But I've seen the Pakistani Cinema version
Gajni
of it.
2.
Gajni 2.
Yeah.
That was such a banger movie.
So,
What a movie.
नोलन की earlier movies मैंने सारी देख ली हैं. फिर उसके बाद Tenet सिर्फ मैंने we've discussed this already.
I
Yeah.
haven't seen Tenet, yeah.
So that's the only one that I've yet to properly
Consume.
and
I think you can take your time on that. You don't rush out to watch that one.
ठीक है.
But yeah, the Odyssey. While I was watching the Odyssey, I was actually weirdly thinking about this
Because
podcast.
because I was about to say that Scorsese the movie that I would say has so much pace
Wolf of
is
Wall
Wolf
Street.
of Wall Street,
But
no? Because of the lifestyle that story has,
Of course.
and
But that story demands that sort of pacing.
exactly.
At the same time, Wolf of Wall Street ke baad, he does a movie called Silence. Have you seen this movie?
I've not
It's
seen
about
Silence.
The 16th century Jesuit priests who fly from, I believe, mainland Europe to Japan, जहाँ पे वो Christianity को बांटना चाह रहे हैं.
और इसमें कौन था?
Andrew Garfield, Liam Neeson,
Okay.
Adam Driver.
I've not seen it yet.
It's like I saw this in theaters, and it was me and one other guy on a Friday night, and it absolutely tanked. But that movie is one of those movies that it stays with me. I'm like, wow, like it's a war between, it's an Odyssey between faith, message, and the realization of all of those things. Because what happens is उस ज़माने में was feudal Japan, और they were not letting any other religion come. जो भी आता था, कोई भी religion बांटने उनको मार देते थे. So they're basically, this is also like a movie about finding the person, like क्योंकि उनका एक priest होता है जो जाता है वो गायब हो जाता है. People think that he's dead. So they also go looking for this priest in Japan, as well as trying to spread the word of God in their respective manners. And it's like the confrontation of those two things together. It's a very deep, like, psychological examination of all these things. Very different from Wolf of Wall Street.
सही है.
Right? And उसी ज़माने में, I think उसके 1-2 साल के बाद या आस-पास, Nolan releases Dunkirk, which is like a World War II epic about this one very specific moment. Again, very fast-paced, non-linear. ये हो रहा है और वो भी फट रहा है और ये Harry Styles भी डाल दो. So like, even though I related to that Scorsese movie, it kind of like got washed out of what Dunkirk did to me in theaters, and then so on and so forth. So he's always been my guy. Like, whenever I've like tried to understand cinema, it's been through the lens of Christopher Nolan and David Fincher. Like, those are the two people that I've always been like, inki movie aa rahi hai, to I'm going to be there first day, even if it sucks. Like, Tenet, was not a huge fan of. And like, apparently it requires a lot of multiple viewings, not even 2, like 3 or 4 viewings to truly get the message. I don't think I've had that sort of time real estate recently.
I've actually not done that with Dunkirk also. I've only seen it once maybe.
I've seen it twice. I saw it once in
I need
theaters.
to watch Dunkirk again. Yeah,
with my dad, because I was like, this is a war movie, I should take my dad, and he really enjoyed it as well. I don't know if you fully got the message of togetherness and, you know, saath milke hum Nazis ko defeat karenge, but he just really liked the action. But I saw it again and trying to understand, like, what is, you know, because evidently all the Nolan movies turn out to be movies about a man or a group of people trying to return home. And that has been a through line. Like, I've been reading criticism about this movie, and a lot of people have been saying, like, he's been trying to make the Odyssey in like 8 different ways now.
Okay.
Like, you know, Inception
every movie is sort of an Odyssey that he's
where a troubled great man is trying to make it home.
There's an overlap.
Like, Batman ko dekh lo, like literally Dark Knight Rises is trying to get home. Inception, he's trying to get home for his kids. Dunkirk, they're all trying to get home back to England, which is like right across the pond there. Same thing with the Odyssey, is literally the Odyssey. Trying to get home. And so, like, once you look at through those lenses, and then, like, you know, this movie having a conversation with all the other Nolan movies, I'm just like, this is fast. And I was thinking about this podcast when I was watching the movie, and I was like, this is probably how Yasser Bhai felt when he walked out of One Battle After, which I also really, really love. I think it was my favorite movie of last year.
See, I've seen it now 3 times at least.
Yeah.
Yes, I've seen it 3 times so far.
Here's the thing. I think, and I've spoken to a lot of people who've watched One Battle, who are also girl dads, and that movie hits on that level as well. For me.
Girl dads?
Right? Which you also are. But you're also a boy dad.
Yes.
Which I think will also help the Odyssey for you. Because I'm a boy dad. I have 2 boys, and like...
That's an interesting... I didn't think of it like that, but yes, that's an interesting take.
It was like... Because Telemachus की जो relationship उसके बाप से है. Because it started in the movie, Odysseus leaves when Telemachus, whatever his name is. Telemachus is 2.5. And that is the same age that my Mikhail is. And I'm like, if I left today and I came back 20 years later, kind of like what happens in Interstellar, what is going to be my relationship with my son? Like, I was thinking about that and what I would do to go back to him.
Yeah.
And I think you would have a really similar experience with your Mikhail as well. Because it's about a father and son like trying to reunite at the end of the day with a lot of other shit happening. And I genuinely, I would love for you to see it. Hopefully you'll see it this week. Hopefully you'll see it with me. I would love to go with you and see it. And then we can have like a proper in-depth conversation about the Odyssey next week and just
ठीक है.
absolutely blow it up. And I
फिर
hope you
अभी
like
आप क्या कहते हैं आम माफिया के बारे में माम
it. यार ये
आम माफिया के बारे में बात करना चाह रहे हो?
I do want to come back to the Odyssey in a second because two things were happening when I was watching it. I was like overwhelmed by how amazing it was and what this journey was taking me on. And then I was trying to think about how, because I'm also reading it right now. And the text in the introduction, everybody who's talking about the Odyssey is talking about this is the first Western literary text preserved. And then uske upar is like literally all stories are based off of the Odyssey in terms of the hero's journey and all the archetypes that you see is literally based off of the Odyssey and the Iliad. Because this is
How old is the book?
2,700 years old. It's before the Quran. It's before the Bible. It's before, I don't know when the Jewish faith technically starts, but it's around about that time. It's 8 BC. को ये लिखी गई थी और ये events occur in the 10th BC. So for 100 or 200 years, this was just an oral tradition. And then Homer wrote it down.
Okay.
And then uske baad se like on tablets and stuff like that. And then it got passed on to where it is now. And I was thinking about civilizations in our part of the world that are just like gone, that are maybe even predate the Odyssey and predate the Greeks. I'm thinking of Mohenjo-daro and the stuff that we got out of there, tablets and scrolls and stories and hieroglyphics. But we just don't have, and this is coming back to the conversation we had last week about like why Nolan will never come to Pakistan, but how we have stories that are just as old and just as unique and just as important for our civilization. Because one thing that you and I can probably agree on is that the subcontinent of South Asians have their own network of stories. And in the Mughal era, they really tried their best to preserve the architecture, the stories, the art of it all. Because the Mughals are obsessed with art. You can see Taj Mahal, you can see all the things that they built, the Badshahi Masjid, and how like architecturally and artistically fulfilling that was for them. But we obviously now do not have the infrastructure to maybe create those type of stories on that level like the Odyssey. And the one cinema industry that does is relentless on making propaganda against Pakistan, which is the Indian Hindi industry and just Bollywood in general, right? And so I'm like, will we ever get, because we have gotten Jodh Akbar, we have gotten many iterations of the Mughal lifestyle, but it's through the Bollywood lens and it's 95% inaccurate of what was actually going on. And it's a little bit of Bollywood washing of, of Akbar and Jodha and their relationship. The truest representation of I can see of a story of that epic nature being told from our lenses and our language is probably Mughal-e-Azam, which is genuinely a work of art. And
you've seen it?
I've seen it, yes.
Yeah.
I saw it as a kid and I didn't appreciate it, obviously. But then I recently was very obsessed with that era of like 60s, 70s Bollywood, and especially 60s, 70s Bollywood, looking back at the 1800s, because they were a lot more closer than we are.
Right.
So we would probably have a little bit of more, we would take artistic licenses to some things, but they were like genuinely like partition ko 20 saal hue the. So they were all fresh growing up from the rubble of whatever that partition had led. And so they had a lot more nuance to those storytelling, which we probably wouldn't. So I was looking at like Pakiza, or I was looking at Umrao Jan, and I was looking at Mughal-e-Azam. Those are the three that I looked at. And I was looking back at what messages those movies were telling us. And they had so much nuance.
Such as? Like as in,
Umrao Jan, for example.
These three movies you've seen
I've
recently.
seen these recently, like in the past 2 years.
So what did you sort of extract from them that you feel like might be missing in modern day age?
Firstly, the Indian movie industry, for example, the Hindi movie industry.
इसमें ये भी तो है ना कि is Pakiza, Umrao Jan and Mughal-e-Azam are they based on books? Right? Umrao Jan I know is based on a book.
Yes,
is
Mughal-e-Azam
as well as Pakiza also based on books?
I can double check that.
Because as soon as they're based on a certain, written source material, you know that there is actual story mein depth hoga na. The novelist has spent a lengthy period of time working on an in-depth, historically representative sort of story.
Wikipedia is telling me that it's not based on anything. It's just saying it's
Mughal-e-Azam?
Yeah, Pakiza. It's Meena Kumari is in it, obviously, Ashok Kumar, Rajkumar. Tells the story of Sahib Jan, Lucknow based the wife, but it's not saying anything about based on this work.
Mughal-e-Azam
mein dekhta hu. Mughal-e-Azam is kind of just a retelling of
famous.
Shah Jahan and
Yeah.
his son. Is epic historical film, Durga Court.
Is that considered like a actual story or like a fable or something?
It's based on a play called Anarkali by Imtiaz Ali Taj. It's based on Emperor Akbar and Shah Jahan. Yeah. So it's kind of based on like historical
Theatrical
figures.
play.
Yeah. A play based on historical figures and whatnot. And the third one I was thinking about was Devdas, which is also based on a book or a play.
It's based on a book.
Yeah. So those were the 4 texts that I was looking at, like that come close to what the Odyssey is attempting. But again, these movies were made way back in like the silver age of Hindi cinema. And us zamane mein, like there was no, like we were not, or the Indians were not really using that cinema as propaganda against other countries that are maybe neighboring them.
Cinema was
exactly.
Yeah.
There was a little bit of purity to it. And so it just comes off straight from the screen as a work of art, an attempt to tell this story that was centuries old.
But see, those are the movies that you're talking about right now that have lasted the test of time, right? So I'm sure there were propaganda movies also being made in the industry at the time. Sure, why not? Like
I can't even think of an example.
Partition ko hue हुए agar jitne bhi saal hue honge, if there was any, I'm just assuming, but I'm just saying, if there were made, they have not lasted. Their messaging has sort of diluted and sort of gone away. आप इस तरह imagine कर लो ना, जब से partition हुआ है till present time, is there any movie that you can talk about that has to deal with the partition? But you know that there have been made, right?
Yeah. But
you can assume, or you can imagine that somebody must have made partition related movies.
Yeah, but they haven't really transcended.
That's my point.
That is something.
So either they were not well made enough, either they were not executed in the right way, or they just they haven't been resonating with any audience. No? Yeah. So there's no staying power, exactly. So the movies that you're mentioning are the ones that have staying power and that you can still deem and consider as being classics, because they probably lack what you're saying, that they don't have any kind of a bias of any sort. They're just good stories.
Yeah. But again,
and visually well executed.
The partition is such a huge and vast topic that is so underrepresented in modern, in any pop culture, I would say. Yeah. Like,
I think even in Pakistan, apparently I came across some random information about how in Pakistan also, partition के ऊपर हमने भी कोई movies नहीं बनाई until I think यही around the 60s time, when we actually addressed something as serious as the partition. So, because I was also doing some kind of a random research on historical cinema, and I came across this, that, you know, it took us also 20 years before we could address a topic like the partition.
It's probably too close.
In the cinema.
I mean, even like 9/11 ke where technically koi movies nahi bani hai, because it's so close to, like, we're only 25 years removed from what
documentary to bani thi.
Documentaries bani, but I'm talking about like taking artistic license.
Michael Moore also made
9/11. Fahrenheit 9/11, and there's been Netflix documentaries as well. But again, when it's too close and the people that have been affected are still alive and reading through that, I feel like you need some distance from it. Even JFK के assassination के ऊपर भी movies बनी है उसके 20-30 साल के बाद. So I understand
90s में मेरे ख्याल से Oliver Stone ने पहले.
Yes. So I understand having some distance from, you know, the actual events and then having the courage to retell them. But chalo theek hai, partition might be a
so my point is, again, I'm sure there have been many propaganda movies made in those times also, but they just don't they don't last the test of time.
I want to say that I think I disagree with that, because a lot of these movies in the 50s and 60s were made for the love of art and cinema, and because cinema mein zamane utne paise bhi nahi the, so they were actually just doing it for like having a very stable career.
There was propaganda in all times.
But this was before the 65 war. This is right after 47. And that was I want to say the golden period of India-Pakistan relations.
Pakistan में कितने सारे यही, as you're saying, इसी war के दौरान there were so many. Noor Jahan was very much part of our own propaganda machinery.
Maybe the music industry was more
music around based on the war, and you know, making music that was supposed to be motivational for our soldiers and the
Watan ke Sajile Jawan. I remember that song. It's a banger song.
So it exists on both sides. These things have always existed. It just certain things have lasted or have had a connection with audiences, and certain things just die down and people just forget them.
When I look at the Pakistan cinema industry, I was listening to a lot of podcasts recently about movie promotions, and Hadi's doing really good work on his YouTube channel about video essays about why X amount of movies get made and why they don't really make money and whatnot. And one thing that kept coming up was we don't have the right stories to tell. Like Tabish said, he wanted to work
we have the stories. It's just that the filmmakers, what stories are they selecting is what matters.
Yeah.
See, stories, we all know, everybody talks about, there's so many stories that you can explore. Each one of the provinces has its own distinct flavor.
I was just gonna say.
Each one of our provinces have distinct stories to tell about the people and the cultures that exist over there. It's just that, what do filmmakers choose at the end of the day?
Yeah.
If filmmakers are not choosing those stories, that's their decision, right? It's
But
not
do we even have a filmmaker who can tackle stories like that? Like Maula Jat was amazing.
I don't know. That time
but how many Bilal Asharis do we have? Bilal Ashari made that one, right?
Yeah.
Bilal Ashari has been on kind of a run in the Pakistan cinema industry, who actually gets movies funded at that scale. He can attract actors who want to work with him on that scale. But how long will it actually take us to go back and like look at our folk tales and be like, this could be a movie? Like Sasupanju could be an actual movie. And we can like, and who are the protagonists of the Parts and Other song? Is this Sasipanju? No, it's not. Is it?
I don't know.
It's Mahiwal and the other one.
I don't know. These are all our folk tales. Na?
Folk tales. But like, technically the Odyssey is just a folk tale as well. It's a myth. And there's no proof of any of this happening.
Yeah.
I was actually doing a deep dive on some history podcasts on if the Trojan War ever took place. And there are remnants of such a war existing, but there is no proof at all of any horse or any of that nature. Obviously, it's also been like 3,000 years, so I don't know if we actually will ever find proof of that. But, you can take artistic license and go out there and tell your stories like that. We love a good romance. We love a good tragic romance. And I just look at the pantheon of stories we have in our culture that we tell each other. I was thinking about this. Karachi mein, one of the best horror stories ever is the Karsas Ki Chudail. If you're from Karachi, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And it's such a good horror story.
ये चुड़ैल की कहानियां जो है ना, हर शहर की अपनी हैं.
Yeah. And I look at like the horror stories we tell, like Minhaj Ali Askari ka jo radio show tha. Have you ever listened to that? The jinn show that he had at 2 a.m.
You told me about it, but yes,
it was a cultural moment in Pakistan for like
जिन stories तो अभी भी बहुत famous है, as in बहुत popular हैं.
And we have I know my cousins who tell stories that will like give you goosebumps about jinns and whatnot. I have a few stories myself that I can tell.
Everybody does in Pakistan, yes.
And so if we have that, technically jinn stories are just passed down orally, right? मेरी cousin मुझे एक story सुनाती है, मैं आपको सुनाता हूँ, आप शायद उरूज को सुनाएंगे, उरूज में तो. That's how we tell jinn stories. Like for example, the most famous jinn story that kind of everybody has a variation of is यार एक बच्चा था जो मदरसे में पढ़ता था और उसके जो मौलवी साहब थे उसने रात में 2 बजे उनसे पानी मांगा and he was asleep, so he just reaches out his hand and his hand extends and his pitcher of water goes into the maulik sahab sees this and he gives him the pani and just goes back to sleep. Like I've heard this variation from different people, the same story. And it's like then the maulik sahab wakes up and is like, beta tum jinn ho, tum yahan pe bachchon ko nahi padhao, bacche dar jayenge, you should go back to your basti. And
I think the only one that I've ever heard about was we were staying at our chachu's house in Karachi and हमने आपस में यही रात को जिन story यही था कि the neighbor's house is potentially haunted, or there is something, some spiritual black magic thing going on because the neighbors at some point or another there's loud screams coming from the house across. अब loud screams का अक्सर मकसद तो ये होता है कि कभी बार abusive family भी हो सकती है,
पिटाई भी हो रही होती है
और
वो जिन कर दिया.
Exactly. But then I also heard that there was some case जहाँ पे some woman or some sister or some character like that was about to jump from the house or something, jump out of the window or something like that. इस तरह की like these are all he said she said जैसी चीजें जो है ना वो travel करती रहती हैं and then cousins tell each other and it becomes sort of
I totally agree. And
but in your like I'm talking about it now 20 years from now when I first heard
the same
it
thing with the Karsas Ki Chudail. There is no written story about that. It's just he said किसी ने कैमरे में देख लिया, किसी को रोक लिया. The best one is like my cousin was like, bro मेरे दोस्त को रोक लिया चुड़ैल ने, उसने बिठा भी लिया ठरकी ने.
वो उसके बारे में भी आपने देखा है या सुना है जो कराची जू में there is
an auntie
creature that's half fox, half trans woman.
What?
I think so.
What?
Something of that
So,
nature.
not even a woman, a trans woman.
Yes.
The layers on that. You know, just trying to
half
like.
fox, half trans woman.
Wow.
Check karo.
What do I Google? What
Just
क्या
do-
check करूं मैं?
Just do Karachi
मेरी
Zoo.
बेगम बोलेंगे आपकी हिस्ट्री में क्या क्या? What are you searching? I'm freak.
Karachi Zoo, Fox Lady. हाँ ये सही है. Fox Lady.
Karachi
Fox Lady, Karachi Zoo.
Zoo, Fox lady.
When you see the visuals of this, now you're
Half
going to be
woman,
creeped
half
out.
fox. Meet Mumtaz Begum of Karachi Zoo. Do I want to? I don't know if I want to meet. I don't know if I want. So wait.
It's very creepy, very weird.
Are people? Oh my god.
Yes.
Capital TV. This is 5 days ago.
Is it 5?
I mean,
So
they
it's that
uploaded it.
recent?
Meet Mumtaz Begum of Karachi Zoo in her first ever interview.
नहीं इन्होंने इंटरव्यू पहले भी तो दिया है. I feel like आज से
They
कोई
have re-uploaded this.
5-10 साल पहले भी कोई ना कोई
This is not a
इंटरव्यू
real thing. This is a person in like a.
Exactly my point, which is,
This is a
it
circus
can't be a
act.
real thing. It's a circus act, but still it's a weird thing.
Wow.
This is how also these types of stories spread, you know, like this is again, I've not seen this
Yeah.
lady, fox lady ever before,
Foxy lady.
but my cousins have told me about it. And so I know about it like this.
And so is tarike ki, not maybe this tarike ki, but there's a lot of oral traditions that could be fodder for really good theater, cinema, dramas even. But I don't know if you have the infrastructure to actually build something like that.
But it's
Karsaz
not
Ki
only,
Dulhan
it's
is
not
such
just
a-
infrastructure, Nazar, but
What is it?
audience kaun hai?
You're telling me that people will not turn up for a Karsaz Ki Dulhan. The movie's called Dulhan or Karsaz. And it's about the backstory of this woman who probably got abused and murdered on Karsaz Road in Karachi, which is the most famous road. It's like getting murdered on 401.
Yeah.
And then she goes back and haunts bachelors. Boom.
Haunts bachelors.
That's what it is. That's the story.
I
She
think you
haunts
should
bachelors
write
on
the
bikes.
script. I think you should
It's not
write the
on me
script.
to save
Why?
Pakistan.
Why?
I'm saving Pakistan podcasting right now.
No. I think you should write this script because that's how it happens now. You ask, okay, why isn't anybody? Then write it.
I don't know if I'm the guy to write that.
But why not?
I think you're the guy to write it.
No,
I
but
think
why?
you're trying to absorb
But
your
it's not.
responsibility.
It's not.
You are
It's
actually
not
a
about
filmmaker.
responsibility. If I'm not interested in that story, that's my point. Nah, that filmmakers, if they show an interest towards a story, then that's what they pursue. And most filmmakers like to pursue stories that they feel like will resonate to bigger audiences, right?
Yeah, especially in
They want to
Pakistan.
try and appeal to the masses.
But like, how many
And-
like Punjab Ni Jaungis are we gonna get before we get a Dulhan?
So that's for you to test.
I'm not here to do that. I'm here to comment on
If
these
you
things.
write the script, so then somebody has to make an effort. Is my
Historically,
point.
Abhi jo,
Who's going to make the effort? Who's going to sit down and write Karsaz ki Dulhan?
because historically speaking,
Hmm.
at least in Hollywood, as I understand it,
Hmm.
the cheapest movie to make is a horror movie. Obsession costs $750,000 to make,
ठीक है.
and it's crossing $500 million
ठीक है.
worldwide.
Yes.
ठीक है?
Yes.
One of the most profitable movies ever made. And you know, you can use cheap effects, you can use camera tricks to actually just get, because horror is the cheapest form of emotion that you can get on in a movie. It's so easy to scare someone. Jump scare dal diya, banda dar gaya. Oh, you know, but you can use that format to tell an enticing story about, you know, people love telling about the dark side of Pakistan, which is abuse or yeah. You can tell those
Again,
stories.
I agree with
the
all
horror
of this.
thing.
I feel like there should be a variety of all kinds of cinema coming out. The point is that people do not have the interest of taking the lead on such projects. I
Yep.
feel.
People will watch the 8th Conjuring movie. You don't think they'll watch like an original script about their own culture?
They should. I'm 100%. Again, I agree with you. I'm saying ye banna chahiye na. It's a good enough story. I feel like somebody should make it. I'm not interested in making it, personally speaking, but that's the point. Who is? So when you meet that person needs to make that movie.
Do we have that person? Even
That's my question.
in Pakistan.
That's my question to you. Do we have that person? Who are the people who are willing to take the initiative of investing money and their time and their effort in towards making whatever these types of movies, horror movies, yeah, any historical movies? Yeah, as you said, these types of epics. Epics, though, are obviously the most difficult to execute.
India is making epics with
Yes.
the what's this Ranbir Kapoor epics that he's making right now with his wife.
वही
Is it
हाँ
Ramayan?
हाँ yes
Is he making Ramayan?
yes
I know there
think
was
so.
also an effort to make
at
the
least,
Mahabharata.
at least I heard about these.
Yeah, so they are trying to do that.
Yeah.
Obviously,
again,
I don't think they
because-
have the finesse that the Odyssey has,
Hmm.
but there is an attempt to tell their story. So the Indian cinema is doing that, and you know, if you go deeper into Indian cinema, into like South Indian cinema, they're definitely telling their stories. What is the Bahubali is a huge example of Indian cinema going back to their folk tales, finding character that they all relate to, and telling its story expansively. Like Bahubali is genuinely a work of art. Both 1 and 2, like the way that they tell those stories, the cinema on it, the art on it, the direction on it, the storytelling. But then I look back across the border towards us, and I'm like, we have similar stories, if not at that grandeur, but maybe a bit more realistic. But we just don't have the capacity to tell those stories. And the same thing like Dhurandhar will happen multiple times agar hum log apni khud ki kahaniyan nahi batayenge. Like other people will come out and tell our stories back to us. And stories are only transferred or transported or moved on to the next generation is by the orators. कौन ये story सुना रहा है? अगर हम अपनी कहानियां सुनाना खत्म कर देंगे, then people will tell us about us, which will
मुझे तो
then.
लगता है हमने तो कहानियां सही तरह बताना शुरू ही कब की थी?
I also agree with that.
Maybe like as in the
No, that's a good point.
movies that we have made in throughout our history. Let's say, for instance, I'll give you an example, which is, can you make a top 10 or a top 20 or even a top 50 list, you know, like of these are the must watch movies coming out from Pakistan, जो कि हमें बैठ के हम खुद भी बैठ के हमें देखना चाहिए या हमारे बच्चे भी देख सकते हैं, तो it would be a good watch, you know. So
I have not even seen 10 Pakistani
that's
movies.
what I was coming to, which is give me 5, give me 10, give me whatever. But point is, you can make that list for every other industry around the world. Majority of them, whoever are regularly creating cinema, you probably can make that type of a list for a lot of countries. And Pakistan is one of those countries that doesn't have that expansive list of must watches. Like Maula Jat ke alawa और कौन सी movies would you say
that you
would
have
you
to
say
watch
that you should watch? The old Maula Jat भी अगर आप देखो तो उसमें भी you can say कि there's so many.
There's a bit campy though.
वही ना. It's
this
not.
one is a more
it
serious
can't be
take.
taken seriously. The old Maula Jat.
Yeah.
You know. But it's entertaining.
Is
and
Khuda ke liye in that conversation?
Sorry?
Is Khuda ke liye in that conversation? Is Bol in that conversation?
Maybe.
Maybe क्या होगी ना, obviously, because है 8 movies जो अच्छी हैं. I liked the first Na Maloom Afraad. I really enjoyed that. It was a really good comedy, like very good about Karachi and Dehshatgardi and taking a funny spin on it.
Sure. I've not seen it.
It's funny. Yeah,
Cake.
I would recommend.
Have you seen Cake?
No.
That was pretty decent.
But the thing is here, the problem with this whole conversation
so
is...
all of these movies are very, very vastly different from each other also.
They are, but they're also the underlying, underscoring theme of all these movies is trauma. All of these movies are... What was the movie that... Joyride? Was it? No, not Joyride. Joyland, trauma. Bol, trauma. Khuda ke liye, trauma. Na Maloom Afraad is a comedy, but also underlying trauma like Karachi Shahar or Bodi Bandashe and Na Maloom Afraad coming up and shooting up places. Kind of trauma. When are we going to take when are we actually going to tell like funny stories that actually resonate with the masses? When is that going to happen? Why does it always have to be about like... We have... One of our greatest pastimes in Pakistan is cricket. And we only have like one decent movie about it called Main Hu Shahid Afridi ya Mera Naam Shahid.
Main Hu Shahid Afridi.
It's like, it's not even a good movie about Shahid Afridi. I know like people look at that movie as like the relaunch of the Pakistan cinema, but like India made Iqbal.
So that's exactly my point also, which is we don't have that many good movies to say that these are the movies that we can be proud of. Like universally. Okay? Like pakka, this is a list of like 5 to 10 movies that are too good. Dunya ko dikha do, they will also enjoy it. हमारे पास वही movies नहीं है, so we're not really cinematically. I don't really feel like we're up there where we're supposed to be, or we're even competing with anybody. So,
I think my frustration.
What is the sort of discussion around
the frustration?
How are we supposed to tell our own stories? Well, we don't really. We haven't really told our stories. The only thing that we've done is achieve anything is maybe in the drama industry.
Yeah. But even those stories are so stale.
Exactly. वो भी is more so just घरेलू मामलात के बारे में.
They're soaps.
Most of them, they're just that. They're soaps, yes. In the international global scale of things, we can just call them soaps.
Yeah.
And other than that,
I think my frustration is that I'd watch the Odyssey and I know for a fact that we have stories like that and we will never be able to tell them. At least not in my lifetime.
until you don't write them.
I can write them, but how will I find a filmmaker like Nolan? You know what was going viral recently?
Why?
This is going to be interesting
But
to
it's
you.
not going to be, you're never going to find a filmmaker like Nolan who's going to give you that epic. Sure, but you can still re-represent that type of a story in a smaller scale in your own Pakistani
Art form. Abhi,
way of executing it. It can be given a different type of an execution also, na? Like, aap ye dekho,
could be like a TV series.
I'll give you the example. Like, let's say, for instance, Romeo and Juliet is William Shakespeare's play, but it has had so many adaptations throughout history, right? So you have your old Romeo and Juliets that have been executed in Hollywood, plus the newer versions. Plus you've had Dave D. Jesse movie, which is Dev Das, but also Romeo and Juliet sort of inspired.
Yeah.
But there have been adaptations around the world, right? And I'm sure those adaptations have not always been to the scale of the way that William Shakespeare ka jo original play hai. Yeah, even the way that other cinematic filmmakers have made those types of movies, they've made them into epics, right? But sometimes if you want to scale down, then somebody makes it like Dave D. जिसमें वो मतलब कि नॉर्मल घर है, नॉर्मल बार्स में जा रहा है, रिक्शा में सफर कर रहा है. So it's a modern take on that entire thing. Or you have something like the Leonardo DiCaprio epic.
Yeah, the Baz Luhrmann one,
Right? With the big sets and the big houses and the riches that are shown in that. That's something else. So even if you take your own story, some kind of an old folklore or something like that, and you want to give it a modern take to it, you can.
I mean, India is doing it.
It doesn't have to happen in an epic manner.
They have the Ramayana grand launch. I just was Googling it and it literally happening today. The movie that I was...
most filmmakers take a story like this, take an epic story or an epically written story, and they're like, yaar, isko banana bhi to phir humne bade scale mein hi banana hai. And they're stuck on that.
I think
and
you're
once
absolutely
they
right.
get stuck on that, then that's where then things don't move. And that's where they're like, yaar, funding nahi mil rahi hai, ye nahi hai, ya wo nahi hai. And they start to just go down that pathway, which is the opposite of being productive, right?
It's also like the finesse is more on the production side.
Yes.
And not
rather
on the
than
story side.
Yes.
Right? With the Odyssey, I see both the production being fantastic and like actually feel like I'm on these Greek islands with these guys, as well as the forward momentum of the story, which is like keeping me hooked. Is baat pe aapke jo favorite star that you never want to meet, Amir Khan, he talked about how
he got married the third time, by the way.
Congratulations. Mithai hai aapke paas?
उन्होंने कहा कि फिर से
And did you see what he was wearing?
No. What was he wearing? Like a
I think like a t-shirt or something. And she was like dolled up like a dulhan and he was wearing a t-shirt and pants.
AI तो नहीं होगा.
नहीं भाई, मैंने video देखी है. 100%.
ठीक है.
It's very, people are talking about like, is he not interested in his own child? I think at the third time, you're just like, I don't know, man, if I should doll up on this. Like, it's already been...
I've been there, done that.
Twice. His video recently is going viral, Amir Khan's, of him talking about why India will never be able to make an Inception. Have you seen this video? It's a very popular video of a few years ago.
Yeah.
And he was just talking about how the audience is not primed to sit down and watch a layer within
also
a layer within a layer.
How ours is like that.
Ours is even worse.
Exactly. Ours is even worse. Education-wise, exposure-wise, interest-wise, do we have... is our audience... That's what I'm coming back to, which is our audience also interested in watching any of these stories that you're talking about?
What is our audience interested in? What is our audience interested in?
घरेलू मामलात.
यार उसको भी आप इस तरीके से आप डाल सकते हो यार.
घरेलू मामलात या तो घरेलू मामलात है या क्या है. नहीं, again, I am completely wrong in saying that, because when we see what is trending on Netflix in Pakistan,
we were calling out Dhurandhar recently, right?
There is all kinds of content that people are watching. All kinds.
Somebody commented on our podcast and was like, Dhurandhar is like number 2 on Netflix Pakistan right now.
Yeah.
Fair enough. I mean, we don't have much to watch. So maybe we'll watch what people are thinking about.
We watch a lot of different things. That's what's... mostly it's all the sexual related shows and all of that stuff
वो
that's
तो
on the top rated in
society की
Pakistan.
frustration है ना, वो तो निकलनी कहीं ना कहीं.
It's either frustration or it's घरेलू मामलात.
Yeah. I just like, I hope in my lifetime I'm able to like sit down in a theater and watch like a Pakistan production about a story about us. You know, like Mughal Azam, our take. Why is that not a, you know, because definitely
Somebody has to write it, and whoever has an interest in
do
writing
we have
that,
those writers? Do we have those filmmakers? Do we have that production?
writers, but again, we have really good writers. I don't know if we have good writers who can convert
Write a
that
screenplay.
into a cinematic script.
I look at something like Good Will Hunting and I'm like, these are two kids who wrote that movie. Do we have kids right now that can write a movie like that?
That's a good question.
They were literally kids. They started writing Good Will Hunting in an acting class.
Yes. There is nothing else to say. Exactly that, which is, this is where there's a big gap and big divide between what you're discussing about and what is the reality where we exist in Pakistan, at least. The cinema culture and the cinema obsession that people have when they are writing a script like that is the reason why they're able to write a script like that. They grow up in that culture, right? They grow up going to the movies. They grow up consuming all these movies. They grow up learning about the makings of movies. And when you are naturally in that setting, there is something that comes from within you that you're interested in writing a story and then telling that story and then executing it and taking it to the nth level, jahan pe then those guys go on to win Oscars.
Yeah.
And then they go on to make careers out of themselves. That is what is sort of lacking in our circle, wherein ek to movie going culture kam se kam hai, just good story consumption culture kam se kam hai. You know, just consuming good stories, there is a lack of that. It's not like people back home like to watch a variety of things.
Yeah.
Can you discuss world cinema with a lot of people? No. Can you discuss a lot of interesting cinema be? No. You're going to discuss Marvels and the superhero movies, and you'll discuss certain Netflix shows and series like that these days.
But
what else are you going to be discussing about?
I think it's the medium. Look, like
when the conversation about cinema is based around the mainstream, then that's what your filmmakers are also going to try and create around that type of, inspired by that.
Yeah.
Right? And the mainstream shows us either कि जो हॉलीवुड का mainstream है या हमारी तरफ बॉलीवुड का mainstream है. उसी से हम इंस्पिरेशन लेते हैं और उसी का हम कुछ ना कुछ अपनी तरफ बनाते हैं. And I feel like a lot of the stuff that we do make are just तुक्का लगा रहे होते हैं हम अक्सर औकात, I feel.
But you know, Abhi, the two biggest movies of this year are both made by YouTubers. And we have YouTubers who are excellent storytellers. I'm looking at Irfan Janejo. I'm looking at Muru. Muru actually did, Irfan Bhai did, for the first 100 episodes of his channel, he did a day-by-day vlogging, which was like an episodic serial that you're following, right? And Muru actually went down and made web series. So these are the two auteurs that I believe, if you fund them, right, Muru can even write his own thing, honestly. Why can't they be mainstream in terms of cinema, in terms of coming on to the legacy media, as opposed to keeping their stuff on YouTube? And even there,
ask them. Why aren't they?
I have asked them. I know the answer.
And
it's funding. People don't want to fund them.
No, man. It's
yes,
not
it
only. It's not. It can't be only funding. The day money actually comes, there is it's not just funding. No, that's what I'm trying. That environment is not created ideally for fostering creative cinematic projects.
It's too much.
The environment itself is so unpredictable. When you have unpredictability, या जो भी है, when your factors are not, you don't see the road ahead, then you decide that you don't want to take that risk of going down a pathway that is full of smog. ठीक है?
It's more about the creative control. It is. That's what they've.
So let's say कोई बना भी लेता है कोई किसी किस्म की मूवी, उनको ये भी नहीं पता कि यार बैन हो सकता है, नहीं हो सकता है, उसमें कोई सब्जेक्ट मैटर कुछ सेंसिटिव हो जाएगा, politically inspired कोई चीज है, अगर कोई पास्ट की कोई स्टोरी दिखा रहे हैं या हिस्टोरिकल कोई स्टोरी दिखा रहे हैं तो उसमें देयर इज 10,000 people who love to get involved in all aspects of it. And वही चीज अगर आप बॉलीवुड में एक्सिक्यूट करने की कोशिश करेंगे, there are certain pathways that have been created or precedences that have been set, right?
Yeah.
Because of past movies that have been made and they have been through their own growing pains, then that industry has developed to this stage jahan pe if tomorrow a producer decides that I want to make a movie about whatever XYZ, तो मेरे पास पिछले केस स्टडीज क्या हैं,
Yeah.
तो एटलीस्ट आई नो कि अच्छा इसको ये मेरे पास केस स्टडीज हैं, और वहां पे हर किस्म का वैरायटी है ना. हमारे पास केस स्टडीज इतने कम हैं कि फिर आप उन्हीं को परस्यू करते हो जो कि हम आपके सामने ऑलरेडी एस्टैब्लिश हुआ हुआ है.
Yeah. Because you told me
रिस्क की बात है ना.
the Irfan Junejo China vlog, which you had really good praises of. I watched it. And I was like, this is where our storytelling is on YouTube for free. Sponsored by BYD. This
But
is where
again,
we are.
that's not really. But no, how you're comparing vlogs to
No,
narratives.
I'm comparing storytellers that we have and where they are living on what platform versus storytellers where India has and where they're living, which is cinema, versus storytellers that we with the West has, which is like Nolan, etc.
You're talking about
we're confined.
obsession and दूसरी कौन सी थी?
Backrooms.
Yeah, these are both made by creators who are
YouTube.
making scripted narratives on YouTube also.
Yes.
I'm talking about now. Tell me scripted narrative creators in Pakistan like Muru is one.
Muru
right?
is definitely one. Who else is
So,
doing it?
exactly.
Sanan is doing it on Instagram.
ठीक है.
Again, the
but these are
platform is getting smaller
these are
and smaller.
platforms that they're creating content because they're trying to make their ends meet also.
Yeah.
They're trying to make an earning, right?
Yeah.
And they
Yeah.
know कि अगर मैं कल एक और वीडियो बनाऊंगा तो मेरी अर्निंग चलती रहेगी.
Yeah.
वही अब वो सिनेमा में कोशिश करेंगे. There is 10,000 other factors that one has to deal with before one is actually making any money.
Yeah.
And वो चीज करना जो है ना, that's where you need a lot of guts, balls,
So,
bravery. जो कि somebody like ये जो नामालूम वाले जो लोग हैं,
Yeah.
उन्होंने वो एक अपना सिस्टम बनाया है ना, नबील कुरैशी.
Yeah.
Nabil Qureshi and his team, he's got also his friend as a co-producer.
Yep, Nabil Qureshi.
Nabil Qureshi के साथ कौन है?
2-hour Fiza Ali Mirza, I think is his wife.
Yes.
I
No,
believe.
partner.
Partner, okay.
Business partner.
Yeah.
But these two have built that inroad for themselves over many, many years and many, many projects, right? That's an example of a creator who I deem as being a consistent contributor towards the cinema world.
Yeah.
Who else do we have exactly like them?
Lashari?
Maybe 4 to 5 people. That's it. That's
4 to
it.
5.
So when you have only 4 to 5 people who are consistently giving you content for the big screen, that's you. What are we even discussing?
I think the silver lining is that 10-15 years ago, we didn't even have these guys.
Sure. And
So now,
10-15 years from now, maybe we'll have 10 to 20 people. Yes. That's how it will grow.
That's all I'm banking on.
And those 10 to 20 people might come from this YouTube background.
Yeah.
They will come from this because they're practicing right now. Jaise you're saying Sanan hai, Muru hai. They're practicing their narrative, scripted, character-based content.
There's another guy.
Because vlogs is something else totally.
Yeah.
Vlog is already based on a character now. So if Irfan is a character, we're watching him for who he is. He's not showing his own development in that vlog. He's showing his journey in that vlog. He's showing what he's learning. But how that is different from a narrative is that you're seeing how a character is developing over a story.
Because Irfan has done narrative style videos which are more documentary style. So maybe that's where his interests lie. I can't speak for himself, but that's what I'm reading from the content he's made. Muru has obviously gone into making web series and whatnot.
Both sides of things. Na?
Which is also interesting.
Non-scripted bhi aur scripted bhi. So हमारी जो discussion है, that's based on scripted content.
Yeah.
Who is willing to sit down and write the script for a historical epic like you want, right? Let's focus on that topic, which is Odyssey is a historical story.
Yeah.
Umrao Jan, Pakiza, Devdas, Mughal-e-Azam, these are all based on some historical inspiration या historical story line. So let's say if we have Mohenjo-daro, we have something that we want to represent.
Which, by the way, has already been done by India.
Yeah.
With the
So
option.
if we want to represent a story like that, उसकी पहले basis कहाँ पे है? वो है कौन उसको लिखेगा? उसकी लिखित पे जो है फिर उसको execute करना वो उसके बाद ही वो होगा ना.
तो आप कह रहे हैं
So
कि
the question is कि who's willing to actually spend that time and effort to actually first and foremost create that world on paper?
Maybe they're sitting on this table.
That's where you have to do it.
You are also here with me.
But I'm not interested in the historical stories. That's where I'm trying to get at. कि अगर मुझे तो interest ही नहीं है ना, why should I delve into that? And that's where I feel like majority of filmmakers are in that position that they're not interested in exploring that history. Fortunately, unfortunately, but it is what it is. It's the reality.
A couple of years ago, and we'll end on this because I want to talk about the arm scam as well, the mango scam, which I think is a great way to end it. But a couple of years ago,
अपने लिए आम खरीदने.
Then you'll tell me, you'll be like, yeah, this is absolutely a scam. कि एक डब्बे में 6 आम $30 का कैसे हो सकता है? You know, in what?
आपने already मुझे बता दिया तो मैं आपको already कह रहा हूँ, it's a scam.
It's a scam, yes.
But it also, mango is an extremely sensitive fruit. For them to be able to export from Pakistan and bring them over here is also quite a feat, I would say.
Yeah.
If it's still fresh, I have not had it yet.
Fresh.
So I'm going to go and have them and then I'll decide if it's actually good or not.
The last thing I want to say about the movie and the historical epic thing is, a couple of years ago, I wrote a short story about this kid who accidentally time travels to 1945 and ends up saving his grandfather from the partition.
ठीक है.
And it was this weird grandfather paradox thing.
फिर उसमें आपने डाला butterfly effect वाला
I forgot how it ends.
Story.
I forgot how it ends, but it was like, I was thinking in terms of,
because now that he saved his grandfather,
and his grandfather
does he still exist?
Yeah, I guess. Or he saved his grandfather from like his village being attacked, and his grandfather is like a kid.
So things don't change in the present time.
I don't remember exactly, but I remember I was very fascinated by just being like, because I am very interested in that time period, which I think has been written a lot about, but I still don't like. एक जो normal family है, जो एक border cross कर रही है, उसके perspective से I wanted to think about, like, you know, what are they thinking about when this news is breaking that this is going to happen, and they've lived in a unified India for centuries, and now it's going to be broken down, and that perspective,
they're not
from the
looking
modern
at it
perspective
as a centuries thing. No? They're only looking at it from their own life perspective.
Yeah, but even then, it's been a united India for 400, 500 years since the Mughals came in the 1400s. They've been one, you know, they've been ruled by princes and whatnot, but it's all led up to like the Mughals still being in charge until like the charge is left, and then now they have to think about being divided on religious terms, where maybe that was not even a part of the conversation that much in the beginning, and it was more on linguistic and cultural terms. Like, there was a very famous podcast that I was listening to about history of the partition, where they were talking about how the Hindu Bengali and the Muslim Bengali in 1947 had more in common with each other than the Muslim Bengali did with the Muslim Punjabi. Even though they were separated on the religious lines.
But culturally,
the Hindu and the Muslim were one, except for who they pray to. And that divide was the reason why Bangladesh eventually broke up, because the West Pakistan never accepted East Pakistan as quote-unquote Pakistanis. There was a lot of other friction as well. But that thought stuck with me. I'm like, that's crazy. And so I tried to explore that idea, maybe not as intellectually as I could have, as being only 26 when I was trying to write this thing. But there was definitely a nugget there. And there was definitely an idea of using the trope of time travel to look at that world from our lens. You know, this kid going back and trying to save his grandfather, etc. So there is definitely stories to be told there. I don't know if I'm the person to tell it, but it was interesting.
That's why Pakistan se jitne bhi filmmakers, agar koi students hain bhi na, they get excited by this prospect also. We all get excited by the prospect ke we have stories to tell, but we're just not coming around to either doing it, either because we are lazy or we don't have the resources. Well, personally, as speaking, I'll say I am being lazy.
Personally, same as well.
Yeah, but so if I'm talking from a person, because I can only talk for myself, which is I'm being lazy. If I'm not trying to create something, if I'm not creating something, it's because I wrote it to myself. Because if I'm not creating something, what am I doing? I'm only consuming.
Yes.
Which is how I feel like past many years, I've basically spent my time
Consuming.
consuming rather than creating. So the moment a lot of the filmmakers in our circle decide that they want to start creating more and creating consistently is the day that these things will slowly baby steps karte improve karte rahenge.
I created after a very long time this week.
Good.
And it was a release. It was like, man, I did not. It's like, you know, when you're stressed out and there's like a knots in your neck or whatever. And then when they get released, you're just like, yeah, this was the thing that it was so easy to just stretch that neck and now I feel great. And it was just like, man, I made that video and I was like, I think I missed it. I knew I missed it. There was just some friction stopping me. And you just got to do it, man. It's got to make. Anyways, do you want to tackle the Mango Mafia in Canada or no?
Tell me, what is your...
I've been living here for 15 years.
Yes.
A peटी of आम in North America started
पहले कितने का था वो?
$20.
पहले 20 का होता था?
20 के 6 आम मिलते थे 2014 की बात कर रहा हूँ मैं.
ठीक है.
आज वही पेटी $32 की मिलती है. आप US चले जाए तो और महंगी है. My mother-in-law was telling me that she bought a peटी from Houston for 35 USD.
Okay.
Which is 42 Canadian.
Okay.
How are you telling me that the same arm, same freight, same everything? अभी तो वो ईरान
you can't say same freight. Freight has changed ना because of the Iran Trump, because of Trump.
अभी everybody is using that excuse.
तो आप वही तो कह रहे हो कि last year या the year before the price was still somewhat normal.
It was still at the 30s में भाई. It's been like they keep अच्छा 6 साल पहले तो कुछ नहीं था ना. हर 2 महीने पे they have a new excuse. हर year they have a new excuse. सर अभी कोविड चल रहा है.
हाँ.
अभी कोविड खत्म हुआ. अभी तो प्राइसेस नीचे लाना. कोविड खत्म हुआ है तो नहीं प्राइसेस वैसे ही.
Yes.
सर कोविड खत्म हुए 2 साल हुए. अभी मुझे पता है टाइमलाइन. कोविड खत्म हुए 2 साल हुए.
But freight has made a humongous difference now for everybody, for everything.
That much?
Yes.
$5 per arm.
I would say.
$1000 एक आम.
टिकट्स आप देख रहे हो?
पाकिस्तान
मैं अगर पाकिस्तान विजिट करना चाह रहा हूँ, मैं देख रहा हूँ.
कितना
पूरी फैमिली अगर जाएगी तो कितना लगेगा?
10,000.
8 से it starts at 8.
Wow.
How much would it be before maybe? You've traveled with your family back and forth.
21 में I went for 1,500.
As an individual?
Yeah, as an individual.
As an individual, 1,500.
Yeah,
That's still so much, yaar.
Yeah. 2021 की बात.
Return?
Yeah, 1450 मैंने pay किया था.
1,500?
Yeah.
At that time?
The cheapest I got in Karachi was 2016, 1,100.
So 1,500 के मुताबिक 6,000 होना चाहिए. So 6 से अब 8,000 हो गया, let's say for instance.
Yeah, 2,000 का हो गया, yeah.
So 2,000 का फर्क in 5 years, isn't that also very significant?
Yeah, but like again, sir जी COVID.
Yes.
उसको क्या कर सकते हैं? Right?
Exactly. Almost a 33% jump.
Yep, that's true.
So
and in 2016 I went for 1,150, but that was like दुनिया घूम के गया था मैं, like 3 stops. Her stop is like 7 hours.
Yeah.
I was also a student, so I just wanted to save money.
Yeah.
But I reached in like 32 hours. 32 hours. I went from Canada to Ireland. 14 hours stay in Dublin. For Ireland से फिर मैं I think Munich
so you get all those options. Now there's the 40-hour option. There's the 22-hour option. You can go from a 22-hour thing or all the way up to 40 hours, depending on which one you choose, and then the price changes according to that.
Yeah, but it's not that different now.
Exactly.
उस जमाने में था कि अगर आप कतर से जा रहे थे 1,700 और फिर अगर आप ये घूमते घुमाते जाएं तो
200-300 का फर्क आ रहा है. Yes.
Yeah, it's tough. I don't know. I still think there's no way that an arm costs $5.
It doesn't.
Right?
Everybody has to make a profit in the middle.
What is the profit margin? It has to be over 100%.
Yes. Food items पे तो सब कहते ही यही है कि 100% profit margin रखना चाहिए.
लेकिन आप उनकी sympathy कह रहे हैं, आप कह रहे हैं कि आप कह रहे हैं कि आम जो है खराब हो जाते हैं रास्ते में. अगर आप कैरियर लेके आ रहे हो,
वो भी होता है.
कैरी आ रही है जो रास्ते में पकेगी और आने में इसको 3 दिन लगेंगे, 4 दिन लगेंगे फॉर एग्जांपल.
उस तरह होता नहीं है.
किस तरह होता है?
पाकिस्तान में तो कैरी नहीं होता ना completely. ग्रीन तो नहीं होता उतना भी. I don't feel like.
यार I remember
उसको फिर भी उन्होंने कोई vapor heat treatment देनी होती है to mangoes before they export out.
You know about this? Are you just shooting out your ass?
How much I know. It's there is a VHT treatment that requires on mangoes before they get exported out. And apparently, I don't know if that facility even exists in Pakistan or they were going to do. This is because I know from my dad's side that they were going to do a joint venture in Pakistan with the Japanese. I don't know if that project ever got executed properly or not. But the point is that when they have to export out, there's only certain suppliers who are also able to export out. Not everybody is approved to export.
Sure.
ये भी तो होता है.
Sure.
तो जो एक्सपोर्ट करता है फिर उनके पास मोनोपोली भी होती है कि हम एक्सपोर्ट कर रहे हैं तो हम जिस दाम में एक्सपोर्ट करेंगे सो करेंगे. But then they also send actually make the good quality product out to these markets. पाकिस्तान में फिर we actually get the B grade, C grade mango. तो आप अगर कह रहे हो कि आपको 32 में या 30 में या जितने में मिल रहा है आपको तो A grade मिल रहा है
यार, लेकिन वो नहीं है A grade. यासिर भाई अभी आप लेंगे ना उसमें से 5-6 आम बेचता है वो, उसमें से एक तो निकलता है थोड़ा सा कड़वा खट्टा. I'm like bro, मैं $30 दे के मैं खट्टा.
चलो, how's this? Let me go and experience it right now.
Yes.
And next week I will give you my follow up.
I do it because we buy these patties as because this is our drug.
Yes.
The chausa. And so we're still buying it, but reluctantly.
Yes.
Like if there is any other option, please, if anybody knows.
I feel like this podcast also was a spillover effect from the last one that we did.
Yes.
Pura Nolan ka hi sara
spillover.
Because
it's like I'm consumed.
Yeah, you're stuck.
I am consumed.
Ek to why is Nolan not coming to Pakistan? And why isn't cinema coming to Pakistan?
यार क्यों नहीं आया?
पहले आप ये पूछो कि सिनेमा कब आएगा पाकिस्तान में? बाकी और सब छोड़ो. When is cinema gonna come? You're comparing with Obsession and Backrooms and Odyssey and मुगले आजम हमने कब बनाया कभी भी जिंदगी में? हमने कब बनाया कोई ऐसी कोई
एल्गोरिथम पे यासर भाई आजकल वो आ रहा है, फिल्मेजिया की क्लिप्स आ रही हैं.
एग्जैक्टली, फिल्मेजिया की क्लिप्स मेरे भी सामने आते रहते हैं. I love फिल्मेजिया.
What did we make?
That's my question.
What were we making?
Tell me a good, decent Pakistani movie from हमारे yesteryears that you can deem कि यार this is a classic. This तो every person in the world should watch it. Not just a Pakistani should watch it. That's the way to gauge ना कि आप मुगले आजम उठा के किसी को दिखा सकते हो किसी और को दुनिया में, या लगान दिखा सकते हो तो they say ना कि oh लगान really everybody is always impressed with लगान or they're very impressed with certain of these types of movies. So which movie can we pick up and show it to somebody anywhere in the world and they should be impressed by it? When we see a good comprehensive list of those movies is the day that we actually have cinema. We don't have cinema. We just don't have cinema. Let's agree on that. Pakistan does not have cinema.
One of the movies that genuinely changed my life, and I watched it, and I watched like 5 times, was Parasite. And it's a South Korean movie by Bong Joon-ho. And I was like, if this movie in a different language has the cadence to transcend.
ये भी सब ने अपने बारे में कहा है कि यार ये तो हमारे मुल्क में भी ये लागू होता है. ये वाली मूवी तो हमारे every single country, exactly, every single country has said exactly that because it is that universal.
But only South Korea was able to talk about it in the way that it did. That
no, I'm sure
speaks
other
to every country.
Countries have made similar movies, but this one was the it one.
Yeah.
And it just clicked at this point in time.
I saw it twice in theaters.
Yes.
I was so enamored by it.
And it clicked at this point in time, and then it made a global influence on everybody. And now it's up there with... I'm sure there are other movies that have certain overlap to the themes of Parasite. It's not like that theme is done for the first time ever in history, but it's the first time that it actually has made that impact. So what resonates... We can never tell what's going to resonate. When it resonates...
Hindi speaking or movies from that area that affected me so much that I couldn't stop thinking about it was Imtiaz Ali's Tamasha, which also bombed. Which has to say something about.
I never liked Tamasha to begin with. I never thought Tamasha was amazing. Everybody was always about Tamasha. I feel like his other stuff was better. Tamasha se zyada I like Jab We Met.
I can't handle.
नहीं, Jab We Met नहीं, sorry.
Jab We Met भी उसकी है, yeah. But Jab We Met, I cannot handle Kareena Kapoor's character.
Jab We Met तो ठीक है.
I've never met a human like that, by the way.
Love Aajkal resonated for me more.
Okay.
The original, not the second one.
Rockstar, I was like, what is this movie?
Rockstar, फिर भी I just didn't like the actress. She
wasn't acting.
She wasn't acting. She was just there as a pretty face.
Just a pretty face, yeah. क्या नाम था उस बंदी का? Nargis Fakhri, yes.
Nargis.
She was in a jazz ad many moons ago.
Yes. Interesting.
Yeah, Shah Faisal भी उसका इतना बड़ा poster होता था, and I was like, dang, jazz.
But my point is कि what was I getting at? What was I saying?
Imtiaz Ali की movie Tamasha is not as good. That's your hot take of the day.
But you were saying something about Tamasha. Go on.
I thought I can't stop. That movie I couldn't stop thinking.
For me, India से जिस movie ने अभी तक I was listening to OST yesterday. Gangs of Wasseypur. Have you seen Gangs of Wasseypur?
No. That's a blind spot for me. That's a blind spot.
Acha, the moment you watch Gangs of Wasseypur, na, then you will be even more jallowing inside कि यार हमने यही हमारे पास ऐसे कैरेक्टर्स बेशुमार पाकिस्तान में हैं. हम पाकिस्तान है ही full of
Gangs of Wasseypur.
such colorful characters.
Yeah.
Such colorful actual characters. ठीक है? And you're like यार यही रंग जो है हम अगर बड़ी स्क्रीन में ले आए तो मजा ना आ जाए. तो every single Pakistani aspiring filmmaker has exactly these thoughts and feelings when they watch a movie like Gangs of Wasseypur. Because Gangs of Wasseypur is so present. It's so current times की एक मजे की कहानी है that it's an epic feud over generations, imagine. If you've not seen Gangs of Wasseypur.
में गालियां बहुत हैं यार.
यार आप पहले Gangs तो देखो ना, part 1 and 2.
Yeah, I know. It's a blind
Then you
spot.
talk to me about an epic.
Look,
because
I'll do that.
That when you watch that now, you will have a new profound appreciation for Anurag Kashyap, his entire team, and how they made these two movies back to back in one go with such a mindset के उन्होंने risk भी लिया. उन्हें फंडिंग जो है जितना भी उनका छोटा सा था, उन्होंने कोई इतना बड़ा lavish उनके पास बजट नहीं था. Subsequent to Gangs, he's had more budgets, and yet he's not been able to produce the same type of that impact that Gangs of Wasseypur has had. But Gangs of Wasseypur has had a genuine impact, I would say, in South Asian cinema.
Yeah, 100%.
Across
I agree.
for all filmmakers, aspiring and current filmmakers.
I've seen his podcasts. He's a very good talker, a very good orator on these pods.
Yes.
And he talks about story, and
Yes.
I think he's one of those people that actually thinks about what we're talking about.
Very
here.
much.
Gangs of Wasseypur, I have to watch
Very
it.
much.
I have to watch it.
So see,
I've seen clips
when
which
a
I've
person
enjoyed.
like that exists in India, na, he is inspiring hundreds of thousands of young filmmakers who want to make छोटी कहानी, अपनी जगह की छोटी कहानी पे अगर आप फोकस करो तो आप पूरी दुनिया में इम्पैक्ट एसेट डाल सकते हो. बड़ी कहानी, एपिक्स, ये सारी चीजें छोड़ दो यार, अपने दिमाग से निकाल दो इन चीजों के बारे में सोच.
But even Gangs of Wasseypur being a choti kahani is technically an epic.
It is an epic. I know that it's an epic. That's what I'm saying. It is still narrative-wise, story-wise, it is an epic. But project का अगर आप scale देखो और उन्होंने किस तरह इसको execute किया है, it's done in a very indie manner.
He's made so many movies after that, but
Yes.
I have heard none of, like, no talk about them.
Because they're all, he's stuck to his guns, which is, I'm going to stick to my indie scene.
Yeah.
I don't need that big budget thing, which I know is going to be such a risk of
Bombay
recovering.
Velvet was not a...
Yeah, that was a big flop.
It was a big flop. But
That
it
was
was
a big
not indie. It was like a huge, big
yes,
story.
that was a big story.
Okay.
But that big time flopped.
Yeah.
A lot of things went wrong in that project.
So what I'm hearing is that we need to make a biopic on Altaf Hussain. That's what I'm hearing.
Hey, a biopic on Altaf Hussain. Why does it have to be Altaf Hussain? I would say...
My Karachi roots are telling me that.
I know.
It has to be
No.
Altaf Hussain.
But see, that's where your first thought is to go to, let's make a biopic on Altaf Hussain. No, I would be like, F that. I would go into a
Cartoon.
local worker of MQM. जब ये शटर डाउन जाके हर बार कर रहे हैं, उसकी क्या कहानी है, और वो जब भाई से मिलेगा एक बार,
yeah,
तो वो एक मोमेंट है in that movie ना.
I get what you mean now.
You know what I mean? भाई से जब वो मिलेगा, जब वो momentous उसकी एक meeting होगी, that's the cinema ना.
Through the cartoon, you actually just tell his story as well, because it's from his eyes.
Yes.
Okay, wow, look, we're writing it right now. We're doing it right now.
But who wants to make I don't want to make that movie. That's the difference.
Because you want to live.
Because not just that, I'm not interested in the gangs wali movie. Nah, if I want to make a movie, I don't want to make it about violence or gangs.
What are you interested in?
Fun.
There we go.
Comedy. I'm gonna see, my genre is comedy. I always want to make something related to comedy.
Yeah.
And I would like there to be that, not just for silly laughs, but for a good story to be told. So the goal is there, the aspiration is there. When I'll come around to trying to make that is the question that I ask myself all the time.
One of my favorite stories, I think this was the reason I wrote that partition time travel short story, was there's this movie called About Time. Have you seen this movie?
Yes.
One of my favorite movies.
Yes.
Instant rewatch. I can watch it anytime, any day.
Is that the one with Rachel McAdams?
Yes.
Okay.
And
yes.
Donald Gleason, who very simple
Some
premise.
British guy.
Yeah, he's uska beta. Richard Gleason ka beta hai wo.
Kiska?
Richard Gleason, who played Mad Eye Moody in Harry Potter.
Okay.
Uska beta hai.
ठीक है.
And he was also in the Star Wars. He's a really great actor, phenomenal actor. Anyways, very simple premise. Boy has a large history of men who in this family can go back in time. That's it. And what does he use for that? Not world peace, nothing crazy. Small story. Wants to find love.
Yes.
Beautiful comedy. And at the end of the movie, spoilers for About Time, you realize it's not about the love of his counterpart or his partner. It's about the love of his father.
ठीक है.
Beautiful movie.
Yeah, I've seen it, but
Small
long time
budget.
ago.
It's such a. I would implore you guys, anybody who hasn't seen it, go rewatch it. It's beautiful soundtrack, beautiful score, beautiful short, small story about just people.
Yeah.
And like, we should be making that.
Yes.
Okay. Anyways, thank you for indulging me in this non-Odyssey podcast. Next week, when you come see it, we're gonna deep dive.
Yes.
Then we're like, क्यों नहीं बन रही पाकिस्तान में? नहीं,
मैं कभी भी नहीं पूछूंगा. मैं तो पूछूंगा कि यार हम अपनी छोटी कहानी क्यों नहीं कब बना सकेंगे? कब बनाएंगे? क्यों नहीं बना सक रहे? हम अपनी छोटी कहानी बना लें बस. उन्हीं पे हम शुरू कर दें. 10-15 साल, 20 साल छोटी कहानियां बनाते रहें. Let there be movies actually coming out in that manner.
I think it's also
that
like
would be the goal.
Responsibility of you and I to also go out and watch these movies. जो आ रही हैं. Like आग लगे बस्ती में आई, we didn't go. I think we had a responsibility to go check it out at least.
ये वही वाली चीज है कि please go and support Pakistani cinema.
There we go.
Support what cinema?
That's a good way to end it. Yasser bhai, as always, thank you very much for your time, and we'll see you guys.
Thank you for your time.
Audience
Thank
को
you very
Allah
much.
Hafiz बोल देते
Thank you,
ना.
Allah Hafiz.
उनको अच्छा लगता है.
Allah Hafiz. Yes, thank you, Allah Hafiz.